Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. And we are pleased to be joined by Houman Akhavan from Car Partscom, the Chief Marketing Officer over there. And if you haven't heard this week, they're featuring NASCAR driver Michael McDowell, who also happens to be the Daytona 500 champion from this year, in a nationwide ad campaign, and will also be the primary sponsor at Kansas Speedway. Houman, thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to join us.
Thank you, Casey. Yeah, I'd love to be here and talk more about, NASCAR and Michael McDowell and everything that we're doing, since last year.
Okay, so before we get to the ad campaign and the primary sponsor of that, there's an interesting story of how you got into NASCAR, because a lot of companies, obviously have struggled with the pandemic this year, and you guys came in at a very interesting time during that. So how did you get into NASCAR? What made it so appealing to you?
Yeah, so we as a business, we've kind of been on this turnaround journey that started about 2 years ago. In the past, we had many different websites. We were down to one website, which is carparts.com. And it was really an opportunity for us to really brand our business and really connect with consumers in new ways that we hadn't done before. Historically, we've been a very kind of search-focused business, and we wanted to build our brand. And NASCAR was something that was always on our mind. We always knew that we wanted to be in NASCAR. There was such a natural fit. The fan base of NASCAR, they love their vehicles, they love working on them. And for us, we had conversations with the team at Front Row Motorsports, and they had really been building their team back up with Michael McDowell, and they were really confident about the performance that they were going to do. And we just really believed in their story with all the investments that we're making to kind of make their cars faster. And all the, the support they had from Bob Jenkins at the ownership level and the management level at Front Row Motorsports. So they were really reinvesting in the team, and we just love their story. And we kind of saw a lot of similarities between our story. Like, we felt like we're an underdog in the industry. The company had kind of stagnated at 300 million in revenues for many years. So, and I always love the underdog story. It's really, you focused, you're determined to kind of do something new and great. And we started the partnership, and we didn't really know what to expect other than, they really believed in delivering value to us. And that was important to us as well, being a company that's still growing, and we've got to make smart investment decisions from a marketing perspective. So that from that perspective, it just made sense, and we took a risk, and the rest is really history from there to, Michael McDowell, winning Daytona 500. Like, you couldn't have, written a much better story than that. So yeah, it's been super, super exciting for sure.
Houman, when you look at, NASCAR's, business model and stuff, and of course, with the next gen car and coming in and all that, I know that, that intrigues you as a sponsor. What has, carparts.com kind of benefited from being in NASCAR? What has it done to your business?
I think for us, it's really awareness. I mean, NASCAR also being one of the first, sports, in the pandemic to kind of go back to a live broadcast, right? So for us, being the first in something, that in itself was a big deal. I believe that first broadcast at, was about nearly 6 million viewers. So NASCAR being the first in that respect, being the first to kind of bring fans back to the sport, just everything they're doing from that perspective, and us being there with them along the way says a lot about our business. We're a progressive business, and we like to kind of do things different and not the same as everyone else. So for us, it's just awareness and people, getting to learn more about our business, and we've kind of leveraged NASCAR to do that. So from that perspective, it's just been, it's been great for us. And we see the fan base, we follow them, we see them on social media, we see the fan base on Twitter. They seem to kind of love Twitter and all the activity and discussions and everything that we're doing with NASCAR. It's just been great from that perspective, and just consumers getting to know our business and who we are really at the end of the day.
So for people that don't know carparts.com, kind of explain what the company is for people that may have not heard of you guys or something like that.
Yeah, we're a direct-to-consumer retailer of auto parts. So, everything from collision parts to engine parts to hard parts. We carry our own private label brand names as well, such as True Drive, Drive Motive, and DriveWire. So there's everything from, collision, repair, maintenance to kind of get your vehicle back on the road. But then we also carry brands such as, Moog, Monroe, Power Stop, Brakes. And it's really convenience for the consumer, right? The old way of the industry is you kind of go to your local parts store, but I think having the online option for consumers is great because you get to save, and especially in the pandemic, right? You get to have those parts delivered to your work or your home, or where you want those parts to be delivered to. So from that perspective, it's convenience, and you get to save in the process, right? In many cases, it's savings of up to 50% off from what you would pay if you go to a dealer or to a parts store. So especially in this pandemic, people going through tough times, they need alternative options, where they can save. And we deliver on that, and the business is growing, and we're going to continue to innovate and find new ways to kind of shop the way consumers want to shop. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of interesting things that are going to be coming out, as we innovate the shopping experience. But yeah, it's a mobile optimized experience. So if you have a smartphone, and you may not even have a desktop computer or laptop computer, you can just pull out your smartphone, go to carparts.com. You don't have to download an app. It's already a mobile friendly shopping experience. So these are things that consumers love. And we constantly hear that. They're like, wow, I didn't know you can buy parts on your phone. Yeah, it's super easy. You put your make and model of your vehicle, and you're ready to go.
So yeah, this is a great world. It's like buying car parts off your smartphone. It's great.
Exactly.
So earlier this year, we'll get to the activation part in a little bit, but earlier this year, you were part of CarParts.com did something pretty cool with when Texas had the winter storms and stuff. You guys did something, with that. Talk about what you did down there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, not only we're in the middle of a pandemic, but then you have a historic storm that really not just hit Texas, but many other parts of the country. But Texas was clearly hit the worst. And we have a distribution center in Texas as well too. Grand Prairie, Texas. We have a large DC in that region. But yeah, just people not being able to, being without power, being without water, and we just felt like we had a duty to kind of step up. And we're in the middle of this pandemic, and our business is doing well, and we've just felt like an obligation to kind of do something, for that area, and so we partnered with Feeding Texas, which is a great organization that was also in the middle of this situation of helping people that don't have water, don't have food. And they're one of the major food banks in the area. And we stepped up and said, we're going to either donate a minimum of $100,000 or up to 1% of sales. And we made that immediate donation of $100,000 in that region. And, yeah, it was just our way of doing our small part of helping out with that situation. And we're glad that we did it. And we saw a lot of other, celebrities and people stepped up to do the same, as well during that time. So it was just a great outpouring to help people in Texas.
So it was announced this week that you are going to start a nationwide ad campaign with Michael McDowell.
Yeah.
With and also be the primary sponsor at Kansas this weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series. There's not a lot of, NASCAR as right now, there's not a lot of drivers featured in commercials with NASCAR as it, what there was, but not as much now. This is a big deal because Michael McDowell said, I've always wanted to be, never dreamed of being in a television commercial, and now he is. Just talk about what your goal is with Michael McDowell with NASCAR.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when we teamed up with Michael McDowell and Front Row Motorsports, in last year in 2020, I mean, he was a great brand ambassador for us, right? The willingness for him to do things with us, to create content, to create videos, and really represent our brand has been great. And then when he won Daytona 500, like for us, it was like he's going to be in our next commercial. Like it just hit us. It was just really evident at that point. And I think what you'll see in this commercial is that Michael has a great sense of humor, right? And he's super humble. I mean, just everything about Michael is just so amazing, and what he represents, his morals, his values, his family, that he's just been so caring for, and everything that he's done. And he's just been so humble and so dedicated to his craft. And for him to win Daytona 500, what better way for us to really put him, in new ways of having him market our brand. And it was just a great opportunity for us, and we're humbled by it. But we just thought it was a great way for Michael to wear his blessings, right? He's a Daytona 500 champion. Why shouldn't he be, in our next ad campaign? And why shouldn't he be on a nationally televised commercial? I think more people need to know his story. And we also did an inspirational piece, which is about a 4-minute video that tells you about his story and all the, the tribulations that he's gone through to get to this point. Just didn't happen overnight. It's over his, his last 14, year or so career that kind of culminated to him being the winner of the Daytona 500 champion. Is just an incredible story. So I hope you get to, check out that video as well too.
Yeah, I've seen the commercial, and I've seen the video. It's well done.
Yeah.
And of course, it's all on social channels. So,
Right.
don't forget to follow carparts.com. I've also posted both videos as well. So check those out. But anyway, Houman, thank you so much for coming on and talking about carparts.com. It'll be exciting to see the carparts.com Ford Mustang for Michael McDowell and the number 34 team at Front Row Motorsports this weekend.
Yeah. Thank you, Casey. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.